Before understanding how a MAP session works, it's helpful to know the learning theory that sits underneath it. I assure you it's fascinating. MAP is built on the work of psychologist Garry Flint, who spent many years studying how emotional patterns form in the mind, and more importantly, how they can be dissolved. One of the key insights in his work is very simple, but so powerful. What we struggle with isn't actually a flaw in who we are. It's something that was learned. Our minds are constantly learning from experience. Every meaningful experience we have, especially emotional ones, becomes stored in memory. And those memories don't just contain the event itself. They also hold the feelings, belief systems, the interpretations, and the protective responses that were formed at the time. Over time, these memories organize themselves into patterns. Those patterns then begin to quietly shape how we experience life. They influence how we interpret situations, how our nervous system responds, and how we see ourselves in the world. Often these patterns formed at times when we were very young, when our mind was doing its best to make sense of what was happening. And because they were useful at that time, the mind continues running them, even long after they're needed. This is why many people notice something interesting in their own growth. They may understand their patterns. They may have insights into where things come from. And yet certain emotional reactions still seem to appear automatically. Dr. Garry Flint became deeply interested in this. He noticed that insight alone doesn't always dissolve the emotional learning stored in memory, but something else can. His work explored the idea that the mind itself holds an innate capacity to resolve emotional memories if it's given the right process. Rather than analysing the memory, the superconscious can actually reorganise the emotional learning that was stored there. When this happens, the charge that has been held in memory naturally dissolves. And once that charge dissolves, the pattern no longer needs to run. What people often notice after this happens is that situations which once triggered strong reactions simply don't produce the same response anymore. The change isn't forced. It's not something they have to manage. It's simply that the mind has updated what it learned. The nervous system is no longer responding to the past. Dr. Flint's work showed that when the superconscious mind understands a process for resolving memories, it can do and apply this internally. This allows the mind to reorganize learning at its source without needing to relive or analyze the past. This learning model is what sits as the foundation of MAP. Instead of trying to push change from the surface of the mind, MAP works with the deeper intelligence that already exists within us. As emotional charge dissolves, the nervous system recalibrates, perception begins to shift, and the patterns that once felt fixed can begin to soften and fall away. Not through effort, but because the mind has finally released what it was holding. This often opens the way for greater ease, expansion, and a natural return of energy. Energy that was once spent maintaining old patterns becomes available again, supporting new movement, clarity, and a deeper sense of being at home within oneself.